We're joined now with two very special guests, Fordham men's basketball head coach Keith Urgo, Darius Quisenberry. Guys, first off, Coach, is this your first time in the studio?
This is my first time in this studio, not at WFUV, though.
So very glad to have you, and I think, Darius, you've been here before, right?
Before,
okay,
yeah.
So hopefully we see more of you guys throughout the year. Really appreciate you taking some time with me and Mike today. And I guess, before we get into specifics, everything like that, last time we talked to both you guys, it was April. A lot's changed since then. A bit of, some turnover.
You think?
Yeah. I was at that press conference, by the way. Great job there. So just kind of since then, these last few months, both you guys walk us through what the process has been, the transition, and taking over as the head coach of Fordham.
You know what? It's been a dream come true, obviously. Like I've mentioned in the past, having my father be an alum, both undergrad and law alum here. A number of my close friends are Fordham alum and Fordham law alum. So, and it's a rich tradition here at Fordham, having the Jesuit education my entire life and being back at a Jesuit university. It really is in line with my family values. So, I couldn't be more thrilled. We have an unbelievable group of young men that have been working as hard as any group that I've ever been around. A testament to our staff and a testament to them. So our summer up to this point has been intense as we prepare for our foreign tour we were talking about earlier. So we've had some tremendous practices. We're a lot further ahead than I would have thought we would be, which is positive. But a lot of that has to do with our leadership and one of those guys right here in Darius Quisenberry. But for me, it's been a tremendous feeling. My family's beyond excited. My father calls me every single morning, pinching himself, saying, "I still can't believe you're the head coach of Fordham Basketball." So, again, it's I'm living the dream, and we just got to continue to make everybody proud.
Coach, last time we talked, obviously, at the press conference, you've had to assume those head coach responsibilities. Did that take some time to, sink in that, wow, I'm finally that head coach at Fordham University?
You know what? Every once in a while as I'm driving in on my drive from Westchester, it sinks in a little bit, but I haven't had a ton of time to really sit back and think about it too much. I mean, we hit the ground running. There's been some changes in the NCAA landscape that you don't really have a whole lot of time to take a breath and sit back. And maybe I will at some point when we get back from our foreign tour and got about 10 or 15 days before school starts up again. But right now, we're just hitting the ground running, trying to create the best college athlete experience for our players. And so I haven't had a whole lot of time to sit back, and my wife will tell you that. But, I'm sure eventually I will. But, again, it's just it's pedal to the metal. So that's what we got to do.
And Darius, obviously for you, I'm sure there's been some transition, but how, good and beneficial has it been to have some stability, coaching staff that and come back for a second year? Obviously last year, a transfer for you, but now coming back for that, grad year, what does that mean to you, and how has it been helping you build this offseason?
It's been great. Just being with somebody I can trust, and Coach Urgo, that's really the only reason I came back to Fordham. I told people that and things of that sort, and just building that relationship with that staff that I already had last year. And you don't realize how important it is to have people that you trust when you're playing on the court, because that just allows you to play more free. And then also just talking about the leadership and then pushing me to an extent that I don't know yet. I think Urgo does a great job of that. We just talked about this more and just more leadership and just trying to lead these young guys to when I leave, they have what the standard of the program is supposed to be. And I think Urgo's doing a great job of building that this summer. He's going to be a tremendous head coach for years to come.
And Darius, you talk about leadership. Obviously, the losses of Chuba Ohams, Josh Colon-Navarro, not only on the floor but as leaders in that locker room. How's that been for you now, second year at Fordham? Stepping up. How's that challenge been? Becoming a leader on this team.
It's a challenge every day because you have to be an everyday guys. You can't really take days off. There's a lot of young guys looking at you, wondering what they're supposed to do in certain situations and stuff like that. So. Being that everyday guy, whether you want to or not, just coming in and trying to lead and be the best version of yourself so people can be the best version of them. I think that's probably the hardest piece for me right now, is just trying to bring it every single day. Yeah, you're going to have days where you don't feel like it and you don't want to get up, but you still have to do it, not for you, but for the other 12 people on your team.
Coach, I saw you smirk when Mike asked that question. What have you seen from Darius as he takes on this larger role?
You know what? Fortunately, we have some returners who have been around for a year in this program, and the standard has not changed from when Coach Neptune was here. We've just increased the level of standard we're asking our upperclassmen, and Darius being a mainstay in that locker room and really being our focal leader. it's everybody thinks or believes that they want to be kind of the guy, right? They want to be the leader. But then when they're in that position, they quickly realize this is heavy stuff. The shoulder, the chair's on my back every single day. And leaders, very good ones anyway, can't take days off. There's not like, I just can't answer the phone when one of the 12 scholarship players or one of our walk-ons calls me and has an issue. I can't just ignore it, right? Even if it's a Saturday or Sunday. You're always on. And Darius and some of our other upperclassmen, we've challenged them with that task this summer, and I think he's felt a little bit of that. And it's again, everybody wishes and wants it, and then when you're in that position, you realize how difficult it is to stay consistent each and every day. It's hard enough for grown men who have been in the business for 20, 50, 30, 40, whatever years. It's really difficult when you're a 22-year-old with all of the social influences you have nowadays. It's hard to be consistent and selfless, right? It's very easy to be selfish in today's kind of climate, but fortunately, we have some guys that have really paved the way. They want to be trailblazers. They want to do something that's never been done here at Fordham, and as a result, they understand what that task is, and they've been very, very, very good for us this last 2 months. But again, we're just kind of getting started, so it's going to be an interesting road ahead, but I feel very comfortable in having a guy like Darius Quisenberry in our leadership council, as well as our locker room, kind of paving the way for some of our young guys.
And Coach, you talk about, building that leadership. Coming into last season, there was a lot of incoming players. You really didn't have that much, players experience, at Fordham University. What's it like now to have a lot of players returning and you feel like you can build off something you had last season?
Well, I'm very grateful, obviously, and it makes the things, everybody's asking me, what's it like? Tell me the first 3 months. Tell me the first 5 months. That's usually, when you're on the road recruiting, some of the other coaches who are looking to become head coaches ask you. Well, it's a lot different for me, right? I was here for a year. So I kind of understand the landscape of Fordham and the administration, and having pretty much our entire staff intact with a couple of new additions, but most of the same team intact, as well as the incoming recruits who we had developed relationships with. It's a little bit different. I'm much further ahead, fortunately, in that regard than someone who just takes over a program from scratch. So I still give credit where credit's due to Coach Neptune and our staff from last year, but it feels pretty good. We're hitting the ground running. We don't have to create what's called our standard. A lot of people use the word culture. We're using the word standard. So a lot of that, fortunately, because of our returning players, that has been created already. Now it's upholding that and taking it to a different level. So that's a challenge, but certainly not the challenge of starting from scratch, which we were here this time last year.
You talked about last year's coaching staff. I want to ask about this one, and both you guys, question for you guys. Dave Paulson named an official coach, Trey Woodall now the associate head coach. Darius, I'll ask you, what have you seen from them? And Coach, I want to ask you what went into the process of kind of, elevating those two guys.
I'll start with my guy Trey. Coach Woodall, he's a wonderful guy. I'm talking about as a man rather than just a coach. He's obviously a wonderful coach for him, but he's just a tremendous players coach. He's always there for guys, helping guys with academics, telling guys to get in class, things of that sort. And then also on the court, he's just a basketball junkie. He loves basketball, loves being on the court with us, loves to work out guys before practice. He's kind of our defensive mindset guy right now. He's doing a great job at it, just being enthusiastic every day, trying to tell guys to get places, teaching guys. I think he's taking on his new role, greatly right now. And then as of Coach Paulson, his mind is so sharp on the offensive end. He's been around the game, was a head coach at George Mason for a long time and stuff like that. So he's been around the game for many, many years. Super smart guy, and I think he's going to help us a lot this year, even though he was part of the staff last year, but he's obviously still part of us this year.
Yeah, you know what? I'll start with Coach Woodall. Coach Woodall has certainly earned over the course of his career the opportunity to become the associate head coach, and I think he's embraced that role. He's taken a much bigger role. He started with us a little bit late last year. He didn't start with us until after August, so he lost the entire summer of kind of learning some of our concepts and our terminology. So he was playing catch up most of the year last year, whereas he is bought into being a part of the Fordham community, and I think that's one of the biggest pieces with a guy like Coach Woodall. He was an All-American. He's been through so much in his life. He's a resource that a guy like Darius Quisenberry can tap into. I mean, you're talking about an All-American in high school playing for arguably one of the most famous high school coaches in the history of the game of any sport, right? Of Coach Hurley. Then he goes to Pitt. As a freshman, he's an All-American sitting on the bench, doesn't get much playing time, has to battle through that, right? People telling him he should leave even back then, right? He sticks it out, eventually becomes the starting point guard in the toughest league maybe in the history of college basketball in the Big East during that period of time, turns him into a champion, right? Big East champion, has an unbelievable career overseas, and he's just developed so many high-level relationships. He's a young, energetic guy who is a family man now. So the amount of influence he can have for a guy like Darius off the court, if utilized properly, and that's what I try to tell Darius and our other players. Look, man, you got to understand the guys that are on the staff, they've been through everything you've been through and more. Utilize them off the court for life experiences as much as on the court for basketball. These are guys that have played in the professional ranks for a long period of time. They've made a lot of money playing basketball. Now they're in the coaching world. They're in it for the right reasons. Tap into those guys. So I'm really excited about Coach Woodall and his energy and what he's brought to the table so far. And then obviously Dave Paulson it was a no-brainer for me. At home games, we sat right next to each other. I developed a very good relationship with him last year. He's a tremendous basketball coach, obviously being a head coach for 27 years. That's an incredible, valuable experience that I do not have and that nobody has in our program, and very few people have on their staffs across the country. So he's an amazing resource just for me personally. But, he brings a level of expertise day-to-day operationally where he's seen some things that maybe I haven't experienced as an assistant. So he's invaluable in that regard. And then when it comes to basketball on the court, his offensive mind, his time management, his game management is tremendous. So he's been a tremendous resource for both myself, the players, and the rest of our staff. And I'll really lean on him from the offensive standpoint this year, which I think is something, obviously, statistically, we lacked last year, which I expect his fingerprints to be all over major improvements in our program this year.
You mentioned it earlier, looking ahead to the foreign tour, you guys getting ready to go Dominican Republic and the Bahamas. What are the goals for your group as you get on that, and what are you expecting? And I think it's probably a good question for both you guys.
You know what? I'll say this: the goals for us are just to be the best players individually and the best team we can be. We try to get 1% better every day. That's something we talk about openly. Darius repeats it a good amount throughout the day as well. So that's our goal each and every day. We're not going to the foreign tour saying, "Oh, we got to be, the best team we could be," as if we were playing in March. No, we just have to be the best version of ourselves by, next Wednesday or Thursday or whenever we play. And then after that, we got to be better than that, right? So our goal is to continue to get better every day. But, the foreign tour is more of a celebration, right? These guys have worked so incredibly hard. Darius and some of the returners have been through a lot in April, right, and May with the coaching change and kind of the indecision for a week or so and really kind of confused as to how to move forward. So what they've been able to accomplish this summer, all of the dedication, the hard work, and commitment they've made to us as a staff and the university, it's more of a celebration. It's more time to spend as a team. You always learn a lot about your program and your group of guys when you travel together. It's like any other relationship, right? So we got, 6 new players, 5 freshmen. So it'll be a great opportunity to get them. We're going to do some team building exercises while we're on the road. It's not necessarily about the basketball for this particular trip. It's more to build team chemistry, get to know each other a little bit more and have some fun. All the while, we want to go in and be competitive. So we're really going to get to see how some of our young guys react in competitive situations outside of the high school outside of the high school games.
I feel like he just said it personally. I feel like it's really like a celebration for us. We're going to go out there just to gel and spend time with each other. Obviously, we still spend time with each other here, but it's just in a different setting, getting outside of the Bronx, getting to see different cultures and experience different things that sometimes guys haven't even got out of the country. A lot of our guys just had to go get passports and stuff like that, just to, you know what I mean, just to go. So new experiences for guys that these coaches are doing a great job allowing us to have. So I think it's going to be a great trip for us just to build that that continuity with each other and stuff like that. And I feel like obviously we're going to compete in our games, go hard and try to win, obviously go undefeated out there, and then obviously have fun with each other.
Coach, you brought up the 6 new faces, 5 being freshmen. The one who's not a freshman, Khalid Moore, obviously a transfer from a Power 5. So a lot of Fordham fans are kind of wondering what are we going to see from him. So for both of you, I guess, Darius, you being on the court with him, what have you seen, and what does the addition of him mean to your team this year?
I think he's been a great addition. I think he fits our system super well at that stretch 4 spot. He can play the 5. He can guard 1 through 5. He can play the 4, sometimes play the wing because he can dribble the ball really well, handle it really well. His shot's really coming along this summer. Just trying to get him more aggressive. I think that's what coaches tried to install in him this summer, just trying to get him to be more aggressive, play a bigger role. I think his last school, his role was kind of diminished, and I feel like he has enough talent to where in the A10 his role can change a little bit, especially for our team, to get out and run a little bit. He can handle the rock. So I think he'll be a good addition, especially after losing Chuba.
Yeah, I'll add to that. His versatility is something that is very valuable in a league like the Atlantic 10, and that's something, he's got all the talent in the world. He can play multiple positions, like Darius mentioned. He can guard multiple positions. I think, and this is a credit to him and his mother, very humble human being. So, a lot of guys transfer like we had last year, and there's a lot of alpha males, right? And they all want to kind of have, stomp their feet and make their imprint. He kind of took his time for the first, summer session. He didn't really ruffle any feathers. He's not a very boisterous guy. So he kind of just got acclimated. He kind of just, wanted to fit in a little bit. And I'm trying to tell him, look, man, you only have so much time. These guys, they're all good kids. They're not going to be upset if you voice your opinion. You've seen a lot. You've won an ACC championship. You've also had some tough teams. So you've seen both ends of the spectrum, right? Now, we need your experience here. You're the only one who's been to the NCAA tournament on this roster. You are invaluable. You need to take on a much bigger role here at Fordham than you did at Georgia Tech. We need you to be more vocal even when you don't want to be. We need you to be more aggressive. I would say the first 4 to 5 weeks, he kind of just went along with the program. Now you can sense he's getting more comfortable. He feels better developing relationships with some of these guys like Darius. So on the court now, he's being a little bit more vocal, being more aggressive. You're starting to see some of his confidence come out a little bit, like Darius mentioned. His work ethic is tremendous. He's got a professional mentality, great student, shows up every day, multiple times a day, gets in his work, starting to show on the court. And we're going to need that from him. We really are. His versatility, I think, will be displayed at a very high level in the non-conference, but certainly in the Atlantic 10.
We talk about Khalid Moore, also those 5 incoming freshmen. How have they been able to come in, help you guys gear up for the season?
You know what? I'll let Darius answer that first, and piggyback off of him, because it's always important when you get the players feel.
I feel like they've done a great job. I think they work tremendously hard, and they listen so well. Like they're like sponges. They just try to take anything you take them and take it in and do it at the best of their abilities. I think that's the greatest thing about this freshman class that we have. They're just so eager to learn. They work tremendously hard, and then also on the court, they won't also take any BS from nobody. So like that's the one thing I love. Like when I'm on a court with somebody, I want to see how you respond in tough situations, because when on that court, we're obviously going to hit adversity at some point in a game. And if you fold in that adversity moment, then I know I can't trust you. And I think just building that trust with these young guys, trying to get them and let them know that we have to play a certain way for 40 minutes, especially in the Atlanta 10, because you have to play for all 40 minutes to win a basketball game. And I think that's just the standard that we're trying to get across to them this summer, and I think that they're doing a good job trying to pick it up.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, that is definitely something that's been evident. Their IQs are all very high. They pick things up at a much quicker rate than we had expected. So that's been a lot easier, and they've been very coachable. Obviously, we had a couple injuries, but that hasn't deterred some of those guys who are on the sideline. They're paying attention each and every practice, each and every drill, and I'm pretty confident that those guys who have been out because of injury are going to come back and hit the ground running because they're there every day, still studying, watching film. Guys like Will Richardson, I think you're gonna absolutely fall in love with them. Elijah Gray, Ramad Dean. Again, their effort, their toughness, their athleticism is elite, and their IQs are pretty impressive. They're good human beings that want to see Fordham succeed. There's no individual selfishness, but there's no minutes divvied out either, right? So they've been fantastic, and I think it's a testament to our leaders because this summer we've really focused on developing, some more chemistry, but some more leadership from within the locker room. I think that's going to take our program to the next level. And it's a testament to those guys for being sponges, listening to the older guys, while also bringing a serious competitiveness day in and day out.
Last question for the both of you guys. Appreciate you taking the time. Back in April during that press conference, we talked to Kyle Rosen. He brought up top 3 in the Atlantic 10 as a goal for you guys next year. For both of you, do you see that as a real goal? Do you have that kind of bullet that you want to hit? Or what is kind of going to the mindset and what you want to achieve?
Absolutely. I'm definitely not going to say no to that one. But I see us top 1 in the league. That's just how my mindset is. I think we have the team to do it. It's just about coming in, like I said earlier, just working consistently every single day. We talk about it. Jilly just talked about it, just being consistent. I think if I'm consistent, then our team's consistent. If our leadership council is consistent, then our young guys will be consistent. And I think that throughout the year, if we hold that consistency and that being that everyday team, regardless, when we get on the court, we know what we are capable of. So I think we could definitely be a top 3 team, but personally, in my opinion, I think we're going to win the A-10.
For us, obviously, we talk about, like I mentioned to you earlier, we just want to get better every day. And what that means for each team each year could be different. This year's particular team, I think with the leadership and the mix between returners and high-level incoming freshmen and some new guys, I think we have the talent to be a really good team by the end of the year. Where that takes us, could it be number 1? Could it be middle of the pack? I'm not quite sure. I do know that we have the energy, we have the talent that we could compete at the highest of levels and beat anybody in the country, let alone the Atlantic 10. But if you don't bring it every day and you're not consistent, you could also lose to anybody in the country and in the Atlantic 10. So we definitely have the talent, we have the pieces, and we just got to continue to try to be the best team we can be by the end of the year. And I'm pretty confident people will be really excited with that result if we achieve that.
Coach, Darius, thank you guys. Really appreciate you taking some time with us. Good luck in the foreign tour. Good luck, obviously, as we head towards the season. Thanks once again.
Thanks so much for having us.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you,
Great day to be a Ram.
Yep,
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you guys.